Hey, everybody. My name is Robert Kinsler.
And this is TJR.
Hey, and welcome to the news. This is the weekly show where TJ and I discuss some music news headlines and new music releases that have grabbed our interest and that we want to share with everyone out there. Um, Now, this week we're going to be discussing new and upcoming releases from Creedence Clearwater Revival, The Cure, Neil Young, The Cult, Alan Parsons, and more. So, how you doing, TJ?
Doing good, doing good. I checked out that record store that you recommended to me called Left of the Dial Records, the one you told me
Uh-huh.
about the other day. Went there, bought probably more albums than I should have,
Oops.
but
Okay.
they were doing a sale, 20% off. So I had to like take advantage. I will be doing a vintage vinyl haul here on the channel later, probably this week, I'm thinking, on based on that little shopping expedition.
That's
So yeah,
great.
so yeah, I really appreciate the recommendation. I bought some really great records and very clean vintage records.
Wow.
Yeah, real thrilled with
That's
that.
great. And it's great to see that businesses are coming back. I know Left of the Dial was here in our area, but they had moved. But it's
Mhm.
glad and I hope it works out for them in their new location.
Yeah, well,
And
I'm
it's great.
definitely a customer now. I'll be going, and they're real close. So it's nice to have a store like this really, really close. Although I do have to be careful not to spend too much.
Exactly.
But
We all have that little thing to contend with. And I'm going to kick it off with news about The Cure and specifically about an upcoming 30th anniversary reissue of the band's biggest selling album, which was titled Wish. Now, this album was originally released in April of 1992, and it was the ninth studio album from Robert Smith and Company, and it included a couple of really enduring hits from the band, specifically High, and a song that everyone out there probably knows very well, and that's Friday I'm in Love. And the album didn't win, but it was nominated for Best Alternative Music Grammy too. At the back of the day. So, but let me tell you just a little bit about this 30th anniversary. I can't speak this morning. 30th anniversary reissue. It's going to include 24 unreleased tracks as part of the expanded track listing. And they have released also at least one advanced track that you can listen to. I know I listened to it on YouTube. And that track actually came from some of the bonus features on the collection, which back in 1993, there was a cassette only um, release. It was like an EP called Lost Wishes. So those tracks that were on that original cassette um, are also going to be included on this. So it's a pretty big collection coming out, and I'm sure people that are either hardcore fans of The Cure or casual fans may want to pick it up because this is one of their best known and best albums.
wow, okay. And every time you talk about The Cure, I realize that I really have to sit down and start experiencing this band. This is just one of those bands. I've only heard a few radio hits here and there, but hearing you talk about them always intrigues me and makes me think I really need to listen. And I've
Yeah,
even thought that maybe we should do a show called He Made Me Listen,
I like
where
that.
basically it's like, okay, you say, TJ, I want you to hear the Cure's album Disintegration. And then next week we'll talk about it. And then maybe we do another one where I say, hey, Robert, I want you to hear, and it's something you've never heard that I
Right.
really know really well, that I think is really good. And then we come back and we talk about it. I thought
I
that might
like
be a
that.
good idea and make
Yeah,
me
that's actually a
finally
good. Yeah, that
sit down and
challenged
listen to the Cure.
us too to get out of not essentially out of our comfort zone, but also obviously to just be exposed to something else. I know
Exactly.
over the years we've found out about each other. Like you might know a band much more better than I do and know their discography much better than I do. And a lot of times it's somebody, let's say like you've introduced me maybe to somebody like Drive By Truckers or something that I wasn't as familiar with them as I should have been. And
Yeah.
and that's really great.
You got me to appreciate Hall and Oates. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
And so I'll pick it up from here and I'm going to talk about actually just kind of an update here. I did talk about this release earlier, but last week I forgot to mention that the third album in the Tedeschi Trucks Band 4-album series, I Am the Moon came out, and it was entitled The Fall. The 4th album, and this will be the final album in this special series, entitled Farewell, releases on CD and digitally on August 26th. And in case you hadn't heard the previous broadcast about this, each album is followed by a staggered vinyl release. Each album is accompanied by an album-length film. You can listen to the album while you watch the film. These are all available on YouTube. And each album is, of course, inspired by the 12th century poem Layla and Majnun by Persian poet Nizami Ganjavi, which hopefully by now everybody understands that is the poem that inspired Layla. Hopefully everybody knows that by now. And this is the Tedeschi Trucks Band, their inspiration, their musical response to not the album by Eric Clapton, by Derek and the Dominoes, but to that poem, which also inspired Layla. And so the 4 LP box set arrives in September from Fantasy Records, which is the same record label that put out the She and Him album that you featured the other week.
Yeah, a very good label. Yeah.
Yes, Melt Away, the tribute to Brian Wilson. By the way, if you hear some noise in the background, I'm sorry. I think the leaf blowers are outside. I don't know if you can hear that or not.
We all have to contend with that. Yeah,
I can't do anything about it. But I just wanted to do a quick update on that and just remind people, in case they have not heard the previous broadcast or they have let it slip their mind, do check out this epic series that they're doing over the summer, 4-album series. You won't regret it.
Yeah.
And now I'll pass the microphone on to you.
Well, sounds good. Well, here, I've talked about one exciting reissue, and now I'm going to be talking about an unearthed treasure.
Yeah.
We have Creedence Clearwater Revival at the Royal Albert Hall. Now, this is a live album that's going to be coming on September 16th, so not too far away. Just over a month from now. Now, this was a recording that was previously, it was presumed to have been completely lost, and it had taken on almost like a mythical stature over the years, and yet now it's finally coming to fruition. Now, this brings together the entirety of CCR's fiery performance at the famed London concert venue, and one of the clips, one of the audio clips from that, a version of Bad Moon Rising, has been released, and it sounds great, and you can hear the band firing on all cylinders. And this title is going to be released on audio CD, 180-gram vinyl, and even cassette. Now, and what's amazing is that this recording, basically for more than 50 years, was presumed to have been lost. But now they somehow, and I don't have all the details here, but the original multi-track tapes were found, and now they've been meticulously restored and mixed by, and I think everyone will know this name, Giles Martin and engineer Sam Okell. So, and the track listing is nothing to be shy about. It includes, I mentioned Bad Moon Rising. It includes Fortunate Son, Proud Mary, Born on the Bayou, and more classics. I mean, CCR is genuinely one of the greatest American rock bands of all time, and this is, I can't wait to hear this whole recording. I mean, it's just amazing. And the thing, the other detail, and I don't have a lot of details, but it also says here, Creedence Clearwater Revival at the Royal Albert Hall will also be released as part of a documentary film called Traveling Band Creedence Clearwater Revival at Royal Albert Hall. So I imagine too, I don't know when that's coming up, but there's also a documentary film on the way that maybe will shed more light about that original performance, and also how we came to unearth and find this amazing recording. I mean, these kind of recordings are the things that audiophiles and fans of bands dream about.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more excited to hear this.
Me too. I'm gonna put my pre-order in. I'm gonna get that one on CD, and I would love to get everything on vinyl, but you just can't. So I have to make choices. I have to make separations at some point. Right. Get the less expensive format. Gonna get that one on CD. Definitely keep us up to date on that documentary. Let us know when that's happening.
Yeah, and I think what we'll do is when that's out and we both listen to it, we're going to have to probably revisit it on an episode and talk about it.
Yes, definitely. So I'm going to take over from here, and I'm going to talk about two releases, reissues from Neil Young, two releases that are actually very elusive and hard to get now. The first one is the 5-track EP El Dorado. The second is the full-length album Time Fades Away. Now, the El Dorado EP was originally released in 1989 and only issued in Japan and Australia. On this release, Neil Young was backed by The Restless, which consisted of Chad Cromwell and Rick Rosas. Hopefully I've said that right. It contained different mixes of 3 songs that had appeared on his 89 album Freedom. That includes Don't Cry, on Broadway, and El Dorado, and 2 tracks not available on any other recording, entitled Cocaine Eyes and Heavy Love. Now, El Dorado was included in the official release series Volume 4 box set that was released in April of this year. But you had to buy that whole box set to get it. You can now get it on its own on CD and vinyl for the very first time. Coming up later this month, August 19th, is the date listed from Reprise Records. The second released is Time Fades Away. Now, Time Fades Away was recorded live on tour with the Stray Gators. This album was the follow-up to 1972's Harvest and was released in 1973. Now, it was recorded live, but it's not what we think of as typically a live album because it featured all original material. No, you won't hear him singing Old Man on this or any of his older hits on this album. Basically, Neil Young, his follow-up to Harvest, was just recorded live. Instead of going into the studio, he played the songs live and then compiled the album based on those live recordings. It's an amazing album. In my opinion, it's a lost masterpiece. I wished he had gone into the studio and created it as a studio album because it's just that effing good. But the live performances are amazing on this. Due to bad feelings that Neil Young had about the tours, the experiences during that time, he never reissued it after its initial release in 1973, which was, I think, only probably on vinyl and 8-track back then. For years, you could only hear this album as a bootleg. It was reissued with the official release series discs 5 through 8 vinyl box set for Record Store Day back in 2014. And then in 2017, when the box set was issued on 17, was issued on CD, excuse me. But both these sets, really hard to get right now. So a standalone vinyl release came out a couple years ago. I did pick that up, but this is the first time it will be available as a standalone CD release.
Right.
Now, I have to correct myself. I said August 16th, and that's because there was some confusion between Reprise Records release dates and Neil Young's website. El Dorado and Time Fades Away, according to the deluxe box set website, El Dorado and Time Fades Away are reissued on the 12th of August.
Okay.
Via Reprise Records. However, though, when you go to Neil Young's website, you see El Dorado as being issued on August 19th. So I'm not sure which is which. I was able to find links for international releases, and this is I was only able to find this on the Super Deluxe website. International links and US links for El Dorado, but nothing for Time Fades Away as far as here in the US, just international links. So hopefully for the US fans that they won't have to buy it internationally to get it, but keep your eyes open. If I see something, I'll of course make mention of it. But I've never heard El Dorado. Time Fades Away, I think, is a masterpiece. I recommend it to any Neil Young fan. I definitely recommend it to you. I know you're a big Neil Young fan.
Yeah, I am. I need
it on CD.
I need to get both those. Yeah, thanks for bringing that to my attention and everyone out there. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. Yeah,
please
love that.
Go ahead and take it from here.
Okay. Well, I have more upcoming album news to announce. So The Cult is coming back with a new album, and it's coming out October 7th. The name of the album is Under the Midnight Sun. And the reason this caught my eye, this news is I gave I think I was on YouTube and I checked out the single for there's an advanced track from the album called "A Mercy," and watch the music video. And the music video is cool and stuff, but I just love the song. It sounds kind of like great classic cult, but it's also, it's not just a throwback. It's also, sounds like a great rocker you would hear from an up and coming band today. And I really like that. So I just wanted to let everyone know, the Cult's not a band that you hear about all the time. So if
No,
you are a fan of any of their past albums or classic stuff, maybe go to your favorite streaming service and check out their new advanced track. And then if you like that, maybe make plans to listen or pick up their new album when it comes out in early October.
I'll definitely check out the track. Thanks for letting me know. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
The Cult is another band whom I have mainly known for their radio hits, but definitely it's been one of those. I've definitely said to myself, I like these radio hits. I really should stream an album at some point. I subscribe to Tidal.
Yeah.
There's no excuse,
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
Except,
TJ, what I had always kind of like you, I knew I think I had a couple of the albums and I knew them kind of from the radio or clubs or you hear their music over the system. But I believe it was I saw them open for Guns N' Roses and they really killed it on stage and I go, God, these guys are pretty good. So it made me kind of rethink them and then and so as they come up, like when they've come out with new albums since then, I'll usually give them a listen. But this sounds particularly strong. This advanced cut,
good. I'm going to check it out.
great.
And now we've come to the part of the show where Robert and I are each going to recommend an album that we're excited about. Robert will be discussing the latest album by Alan Parsons, which I'm excited to hear about. And I will be discussing an album by a band that I only just recently discovered. They're called Mama's Gun, and the album is called Cure the Jones. Now, Mama's Gun are a 5-piece soul band from London, fronted by singer, composer Andy Platts, Cameron Dawson on bass, Dave 80s Burnell Oliver on keys, guitarist Terry Spiller Lewis, and drummer Chris Boot. Hopefully I've said that right. I like how some of the band members have the nicknames, Spiller, 80s. They have these fun nicknames. Their first album, Routes to Riches, was released in 2009 and was met with critical acclaim in Japan and the UK. Cure the Jones is their 5th album. I have only just discovered them. Apparently, they're not making much of an impact here in the US, but they have been internationally. So let me just talk about this album just very briefly. Very similar to retro soul pioneer Sharon Jones. Mama's Gun utilizes vintage equipment to create a retro soul sound that feels authentic and real to the era that they are emulating. It's as if you found a lost recording directly from that era, like you found an old analog tape that nobody's ever heard before, and you played it and thought, wow, these guys, never got discovered or something like that. This album instantly puts, right from track 1, it just instantly put a smile on my face. It had me feeling like I was back in the 70s. And the songs don't sound like any songs you've ever heard before. They just feel like a continuation of the best of this genre of music from that era. I would describe this particular style of soul on this album as mid-tempo soul grooves that immediately lift you up, put you on a very chill cloud 9. This kind of music reminds me not to stress the small stuff, and that there is only small stuff. And now that I've heard this album, I'm going to go pick it up. I'm still debating whether I want to get CD or vinyl on this one here, but I just wow, I can't believe that it took me so long to discover these guys and to find this album. So yeah, that's my album review for this week. That's what I want to recommend to everybody out there. Go check them out. And Robert, I'm curious to know about Alan Parsons.
Yeah, no, that sounds really exciting, TJ. I'm going to definitely check that out. So, yeah, Alan Parsons is back with a new album. It's called From the New World. This is a full-length album, and again, kind of like her, kind of his history when he was with the Alan Parsons Project, and then subsequently, he blends progressive rock and classic rock with symphonic elements, and he brings in a number of guest singers and guest artists, guitar players, and things that help him kind of make his songs soar in the best ways possible. And he really succeeds here. This is a very good album. I don't, I was sent it by the record label. I haven't heard much about it. Haven't heard it on terrestrial radio. I haven't even seen, and I just wanted to help get the word out. It's a very good album. Among the great guests he has on here are Tommy Shaw sings a song, and it's one of Tommy Shaw's best vocal performances in many, many years. It's fantastic.
Wow.
And that's one of the songs. And then Joe Bonamassa plays on a couple songs, and also the lead singer of Ambrosia, whose name is David Pack. He does an amazing job, and he has Michael Larson, who's an amazing cellist, plays. I mean, it's just so it's sonically very beautiful, but the songs are very good too. And just a very good album. And like I'd say, I would encourage everybody go check it out. And if you're a fan of the Alan Parsons Project and kind of prog rock and some of the things from the 70s and 80s that he was involved in, maybe check this out and give it a listen. I was very impressed by it.
I'm glad to hear you talk about this. I have not heard it yet myself. One of our viewers mentioned it on, I forget which video it was, but just mentioned, he said, you listen to this new album, you're going to feel like you step back into the 70s, is what he said, or she said. Can never be sure sometimes with YouTube.
You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know sometimes, because sometimes I've even had people who had one time there was a viewer who had a male face on their little icon, their little, their avatar, however you want to call it. And so because there was a male face, I assumed he was a guy. I assumed he was a guy. No, right. She was a she. And because I said something to him and I said, well, thank you, sir. And he said, I'm a woman. I said, oh, sorry about that. Didn't realize.
Well, we always appreciate everyone reaching out to us. Regardless.
Yes, we do. Yes, exactly. We do. Regardless of your avatars, we appreciate everybody reaching out.
Exactly. Oh, but yeah, no, it was really exciting. I love seeing, and we've talked about that. I know sometimes here, it's great to see some of these legacy great artists that are still pushing forward and doing great music, and they're not coloring by numbers, or at this point in their career, they don't, I mean, I think if memory serves me well, Alan Parsons has something like 13 Grammy nominations, has been in the music industry since he was in his teens, on the Abbey Road sessions, I think for the Beatles or something like that. I mean, what a pedigree he has. And yet he is still pushing himself, reaching out to other great players and trying to do these great songs. And I'm in awe of people like this that have, they obviously love music and are passionate about it. And it's not just about a paycheck.
Yeah. You made a comment earlier, like I haven't heard it on terrestrial radio, and it's like, as you well know, good luck if you're a classic legacy artist. Terrestrial radio is just not going to play them. Not even the classic rock radio stations are going to play them, because they're only interested in playing the classic rock hits. And the shame of it is, and we've talked about this so many times, so many great legacy artists releasing new music. And and the classic rock radio stations won't play that new music.
It's unfortunate.
It's sad. And some of them are doing the best music of their careers.
Yeah, I agree.
Ever.
Yeah.
And yet, and like I said, so thank goodness there's streaming. Thank goodness there's YouTube. Go seek it out. Go listen. And sorry, ranted there for a moment.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Hey, we're on the same page.
Yeah, definitely. But that's about it, everybody. And tell us, as always, we can't cover everything. So if there's something we missed, please tell us. In fact, want to give a shout out to James, who was the one who told me about Time Fades Away being reissued, and El Dorado. So thank you for pointing that out to me. Please let us know if there's something that we missed that you think we should have talked about, because that we might then cover it on a future episode. So please let us know. As always, if you like these videos, be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, do all the YouTube things. It really helps the channel a lot. And a big shout out to the patron supporters who are helping us to make more videos. Patron supporters receive exclusive weekly videos not available on the channel, or they receive early access videos well in advance of the channel. And go to patreon.com/TJR the original. And Robert, thanks so much for joining me again. Talking music. TJ. And I'll look forward to talking next week. And everybody, thank you for making it here to the end of the video. That helps more than you ever will realize. And take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
3, 2, 1. Okay. So we got like about 10 minutes left.
Yeah, that's I think that's good. Sorry about the false start there, but
no worries.
But
no worries. Thank you for the correction on Alan Parsons. It's okay to
Yeah.
stop me. Please always never be afraid to stop me on something like
yeah,
that.
because we don't need the little scrolls out there saying, "Oh, it's Alan Parsons project broke up in the late '80s." That's on, I don't need to hear it. So
Yeah, all the
if I can catch myself, I might miss a lot. But I remembered reading that even though it's kind of like Alan Parsons project, it is not. It's just called Alan Parsons now. So, but no, that sounds good. Those Neil Young releases, I'm gonna have to check those out too.
Yeah, and you can't even stream Time Fades Away.
Wow.
You might find it on YouTube. Someone may have just put a copy up there on YouTube.
Put a copy on there. Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
But my brother, my older brother Mike, who was a huge Neil Young fan, he had bought a bootleg copy from the UK, which I made a copy of it for myself way back when he first got it, and I was just blown away by the album. The nice thing about his bootleg is that it had additional concert audio from the same tour, not footage.
Wow, audio. That's cool.
Where he is playing songs from Harvest and his previous albums. And it's amazing sounding.
Wow.
It's just amazing.
Wow.
But
I have to tell you, on that same thing, back in right before Harvest Moon came out, there was a big benefit for Walden Woods, which was that natural area that they wanted to save in Massachusetts. So it was with Roger Waters played a set, John Fogerty, who had not played any CCR songs since he left CCR, Neil Young, and there was one other really big artist, Don Henley. They all played at Universal Amphitheater. So Neil Young, he played one song I knew, but people kept yelling, Heart of Gold, old man. And Neil played all new stuff off Harvest Moon. So like Hank the Hendrix and all these, but I mean, I love Neil Young. He could have played anything and I would have liked it. But fans were even back in the early 90s already, so rude because, Roger Waters played all Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
John Fogerty played, Old Man Down the Road. And then he played, Fortunate Son and things like that. But I'll tell you, Neil Young always does his own thing, and I respect that.
He stuck to his guns that night.
He always has. He's always done that.
Yeah, I respect that too. I'm reminded of how Elton John, after he released Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, in fact, I think he might have done it before he released it. He talks about this in his biography, how he was so excited about the album that he did some huge concert where like a big festival where he was the closing act, the headliner. And he said, we're going to play the whole album, this new album, Captain Fantastic. I'm real excited about it. And he played the whole album. And, it was not what fans wanted because they didn't know this album. They wanted to hear what they already knew. And luckily it was also all recorded because when they released the deluxe edition of Captain Fantastic, the 2 CD edition, the second CD included that entire concert.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Which is great to hear. They play the whole album. I think afterwards they played a couple of his hits after that. But he talked about, he said, yeah, I guess I was a little too, it's funny. Neil Young is like, I'm going to do this. And he
doesn't care what people scream.
Elton stuck to his guns. They played the whole album. That was their plan. Yeah. But he said afterwards, kind of like in the biography, guess I was a little bit full of myself.
Yeah, like if Paul McCartney went out and played McCartney 1, 2, and 3 in its entirety, let's say right now, and didn't play any Beatles and stuff, his audience would not like it because Neil Young's audience knows. I mean, there's the casual fans that want to hear Cinnamon Girl and all that stuff, but Neil Young, if you better be a little savvy because you're not going to necessarily get that at a Neil Young. If he does that, he's going to tell you you're going to pay a lot of money and it's going to be like a greatest hits thing. But when he goes out on his other things, he experiments, like with Crazy Horse. I've heard him do like a half-hour version of Like a Hurricane, and the ending, which is 10 minutes of feedback. Your ears are bleeding, and that's just how it goes. That's how it goes.
Bring the earplugs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Need earplugs at his shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
Well, we'll have to get together soon because I keep getting more stuff together for you. So
yeah. Okay.
you know, we'll have to
Sounds
get
good.
together for breakfast or something in the
Yeah.
next few weeks or something.
Okay. All right,
All
man. You
right.
take care.
Okay, you too, Temps. Good to
All
see
right.
you. Okay.
Let me shut this down. Here we go.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.